Hi everybody, it's Lynn from Lynn's Crafts Designs. My camera's doing that thing again. I don't know why I've been working with molds so much lately, but we've got another one today. This is a handmade mold that I made of a polymer clay piece I did a few years ago. Also not sure what's wrong with my voice. I took the mold of the polymer clay piece before I added anything else to it. So this is just a pumpkin. I've kind of shaped this piece of orange, primo orange, out a little bit just because it's so freaking hard. I don't know if this is going to even work or not. I would say it's a big no. Okay, now we're going to try this again. I've rolled it out on my thickest setting. Just going to push it into the mold. Fold those edges in just a little bit. Now this is not going to fill this the whole way, and that's okay, because then I can back it with something softer if I need to. Okay. There, now that was a little better. I think we'll get something good out of it now. Just going to keep pressing it. I'm putting a lot of pressure. It's not crumbly, it's just dense. Okay. Almost fill it all the way, except that little bit in the middle right there. 2 for that. There. Just a little black and orange, isn't it? I think I'd rather have a little bit of white. There we go. Now I haven't decided what backing we're going to put on this, but we'll get to that when we get to it, I guess. Alright, let's demold this. Now, of course, my mold was dirty, so that transferred onto the clay, but we're gonna put some pan pastels on this anyway. That really did turn out nice. Okay, let's get some pan pastels out. Okay, this is a burnt sienna, which is a redder color of the brown family. Okay. Now this is a burnt sienna shade. Just a touch at the top and the bottom. Alright, I really like that. Okay, now I'm going to decide on a backing color. I may use this souffle. And then we're going to do some leaves. This is a leaf mold. I think I just got it off of Amazon. And I was looking a day or two ago or whatever. Temu does carry it, and it's still on Amazon. Okay, now I've just pulled out a towel. This is a glazed towel, ceramic towel, like you would get at Lowe's or Home Depot or a hardware store for your bathroom. It's like a shower towel, okay? Glossy, shiny, bathroom ceramic towel. I forget to say that a lot, and I get asked questions about it quite often. Now we're just gonna plop this. We're just gonna plop it down. Okay, now because this is souffle, it's not as sticky as normal polymer clay. I'm going to put just a tiny bit of liquid Sculpey. Liquid clay, bacon bond, whatever you got at hand. It just happened to be what I had. Okay, using a light touch, like I always say. You don't want to leave any fingerprints. You don't really want to distort the clay. Okay. Now I'm not going to cut it out yet because I want to do some leaves first. And I'm not sure when I do the leaves if they're going to need a backing behind them. So we're going to do the leaves first. I'm going to get some clay ready and then we'll get to it. Okay, also for some of the newer subscribers that are maybe newer to polymer clay, when I cut off a slice of this, I cut it off pretty thin because this is older clay. Same thing with that orange. I cut it off, it was less than 1/4 of an inch. Then I rolled it out with my rolling pin just to get it thinner. You don't want to put something that thick through your pasta machine. It won't handle it. You'll go through pasta machines left and right that way. After I rolled it down with my rolling pin, then I rolled it through the thickest setting on my pasta machine. Then of course folded it in half and ran it back through. I did that like 20 times on this souffle just to get it workable. You're not worried about the edges. They're just going to look like that. You can cut them off, trim them up if you desire. This is just brown polymer clay. It happens to be much softer and less dense than either that orange or the souffle. I still had to run it through 15 times. And it's still pretty firm. So let's see if we can even get it into this leaf mold. The trick may actually be to cut these out. Don't worry about what the back of my mold looks like. Okay, you can see that left a very faint outline of that leaf. I'm just going to roughly cut that out. With my craft knife. Don't need to be too exact. Don't need to worry about where those notches are or anything as I cut around one of those notches. Excuse me for having to turn it around. It's just to get that impression in a little better light. Okay. Now this is just for one leaf, obviously. Okay, and doing it and rolling it on the back side like I did, as you can see, really distorted that shape. But all we're worried about is getting something we can work with. So we're going to have to cut it down again. Don't worry about that. While holding it down. Okay. Like that. Then we're going to cut that out again. Now keep in mind, your craft knife wants to distort that clay anyway. It wants to drag and pull that polymer clay. Okay, so as you can see, I'm holding those tips down just so that the craft knife doesn't pull them off. Let's go ahead and cut this other one off. It seems rather tedious, but when you have a clay that is older or firmer, it's just what you're going to have to do. Okay. Now, of course, it could be more textured, but we're not really worried about that. Let me get my mat back up on my desk. Okay, now I want to kind of use my fingertip to roll down those edges just a tiny bit. You don't want those cut edges quite so much. Alright. Okay, we're going to fold that leaf a bit, if we can get it to. Right along that center vein. Okay, now I did these the same way. Just mildly, roughly pushed them in there and then cut around them. Okay. Now this one, I'm gonna put this one right on top of this one here. Okay, now we're going to build a stem and just do a couple of little spirally bits. Alright, let's start with the stem. Now we're just going to look at the pumpkin itself. Alright, now I'm going to really round those edges down on the stem. And I'm going to grab, this is just a Sculpey needle tool, pokey tool in the scrapbooking world. We're going to give it some wood graining lines. Maybe cut the end there a little bit. Yeah, give that a little stem shape. Turn my blade around so I don't cut myself. Started to say the same thing about the pokey tool. Put the cap back on so I don't stick myself and bleed to death. If y'all know where that's from. You watch too many movies like my husband and I do. Okay. Now, this is a silicone tipped tool. Now with my scrap leftover brown, which I got a lot of, and I'm just going to take a little and roll it down. Okay, go with a paintbrush. Let's give that a go. And spiral it around. We're going to go ahead and spiral the whole thing. We'll cut it in half as we need to. Alright. Okay, now just take like 3 of those little spirals. Hey, don't do that. Okay, this is the burnt sienna again. This time on an applicator brush. Now let's go with the one up from that, the shade color. Right. still not right. There. Now, this is just an average mica powder brush. It's actually a gold leafing brush. Kind of blend those colors. Just a little bit. Okay, now when it's done, finished baking, we may come back and do some antiquing before we put the back on. How do y'all feel about that? Yeah. Alright, I'm going to bake this. 275 for... Okay. Once again, future Lynn here. This is really getting ridiculous. I had a really awesome ending. How I put this pin back on and everything. Needless to say, now I don't. Alright. I just put the pin back on with some Bacon Bond. Then I put a layer of polymer clay over that completely covers it. And you have room on the sides to attach it down. Then I put a little bit of Bacon Bond underneath just because this brown clay is rather old. So there's the back. Then I put a coat of the Golden's polymer varnish in the mat. I just love it. My mat has gone all flaky though. Looks like I did a little speckling with white paint, but I didn't. Alright. I seriously want to end my videos other than they're just not there. I don't know if I'm not filming them, if I'm not uploading them on my computer. I don't know what the deal is. Somebody help me. Anyway, I want to thank y'all so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Like everybody's video you watch. It really does help the algorithm. Subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. You can also click the little bell to send you notifications. I do have an Amazon shop that I get a little kickback from if you order anything through that link.